Good day. Welcome to Data Preparation, Coding, and Data Quality for Week 5. This week, we focus on how raw data is transformed into something meaningful through systematic preparation, thoughtful coding, and rigorous quality assessment. These lessons are designed to guide you through the unseen work that makes research trustworthy. Allow me to share my slides and to minimize myself. Research doesn't begin with analysis. It begins with the painstaking process of turning messy, unstructured data into something your brain and your software can interpret. Throughout this week, we explore the invisible labor behind research integrity. You will learn how quantitative data demands precision and procedural checking, while qualitative data requires interpretive rigor and systematic development. Both forms of data share one truth. Insight emerges only when quality is in place. Here are your week 5 learning objectives. In lesson 13, you will master the complete pipeline of data preparation from the moment data is collected to the moment it is documented and secured. In lesson 14, you will develop systematic coding strategies that turn qualitative narratives into coherent analytical themes. And in lesson 15, you will learn how to perform rigorous data quality assessments for quantitative data sets. Let's look at lesson 13. Lesson 13 introduces data preparation, the journey from raw data to ready data. Consider Ian, a graduate student who finally finishes collecting his surveys and interviews. His flash drive is overflowing with spreadsheets, audio files, handwritten notes, transcripts, and screenshots. He feels accomplished, like he's conquered the mountain. But once he sits down to analyze everything, a harsh truth hits him. He can't. He has data, but it isn't ready for analysis. This is the universal moment researchers face. Raw data is not analyzable data. Preparation, therefore, becomes essential. Why raw data isn't ready data? First, inconsistent formatting. Dates appear in different layouts, variable names vary across files, and categories are labeled inconsistently. Second, hidden errors, impossible numbers, duplicated participants, and unpredictable missing values. And finally, organizational chaos, unclear file names, multiple versions of documents, and undocumented decisions that exist only in the researcher's memory. So, what exactly is data preparation? Data preparation, it's everything that happens between data collection and analysis. It's the bridge that converts messy inputs into clean, organized, and analyzable information. This includes completeness checks, removing errors, standardizing formats, handling missing data, organizing qualitative materials, and documenting everything along the way. In short, data preparation is the hidden foundation of research. If the preparation is weak, findings become weak. No matter how advanced the analysis may appear, strong preparation ensures your conclusions stand on solid ground. So you will work, therefore, through the five-gate pipeline: data importation, data cleaning, data structuring, data documentation, data security. Each gate strengthens the integrity of your data set. Let's look at gate 1, data importation. This is the entry point. You gather all raw materials, surveys, transcripts, recordings, field notes, archive documents into one unified workspace. Good practice includes creating a clear folder hierarchy, separating raw and processed data, storing original files as read-only, and documenting when and how each file was collected. Gate 2, data cleaning. This is often the most time-consuming stage. You search systematically for anything that could compromise your analysis: impossible values, duplicates, inconsistencies, and missing entries. Cleaning requires both automated checks and human judgment. Software can flag anomalies, but only you can interpret what they truly indicate. Here are common cleaning challenges: impossible values like ages of 440 or negative incomes, duplicate records, participants appearing more than once, inconsistent labels, categories coded differently across files, format variations, dates stored as text, numbers stored incorrectly, mixed delimiters. Each of these must be resolved to avoid corrupting your analysis. One example of clearing of a cleaning nightmare is gender coding. A single variable appears as M, male with a capital M, male with a small m, man and one. Though they mean the same thing, software treats them as five separate categories. The solution is to identify all variations, create a standard code, and recode everything consistently. Every decision gets documented in the code book. Gate 3, data structuring. This involves meaningful variable naming, logical code assessments, and correct format conversions. Give variables consistent names with no spaces. Recode categories into numbers with clear logic. Convert texts to numbers, or standardized dates. Ensure all the units and formats align. Gate 4, data documentation. Documentation transforms your data set from guesswork into clarity. Every variable needs a definition, a scale, coding rules, and a clear system for missing data. Your data dictionary becomes the guide anyone can use to understand what each variable represents. Here's the anatomy of a strong dataset dictionary entry. Variable name, definition, measurement scale, coding rules, missing data conventions, and these guarantees transparency and reproducibility. Gate 5, data security. Security protects more than just files. It protects participants. This includes encrypted storage, password protected files, secure backups, and proper anonymization. You must remove identifiers, use ID codes, store linking documents separately, and limit access only to authorized team members. For qualitative data, for qualitative data, preparation has its own challenges. Imagine 12 interviews, 6 fully transcribed as long paragraphs, 3 written as bullet lists, and 3 formatted inconsistently. Before analysis, transcripts must be standardized. Speaker labels, timestamps, file names, metadata, and confidentiality procedures all must be aligned. Remember, poor preparation has its cost. It slows analysis, increases errors, and threatens validity. Good preparation prevents more problems and makes analysis dramatically faster. Time investment realities. like 40% of research time, is typically spent preparing data. Good preparation prevents up to 80% of analytical errors. Clean, structured data can make analyses 3 times faster. So let's look at your lesson 13 assignment. Write a one-page data preparation plan for your study. Explain how you will collect, secure, clean, label, document, and organize your data. Be specific about the tools and quality control steps you will use. Please upload your plan to lesson 13 in the space provided in Canvas with all the activities of lesson 14 and lesson 15. Let's look at lesson 14. Coding and categorization. Opening qualitative transcripts for the first time is overwhelming. Thousands of words spread across pages. Stories, emotions, contradictions. Students often panic and ask, how can anyone make sense of these? Coding is the answer. Coding converts speech into meaning. It's one of the most powerful and intellectually demanding tools in qualitative research. Coding brings order to narrative chaos and allows themes and insights to emerge. But what is coding? Coding is aligning, take note, coding is assigning labels to texts, text segments that capture what participants are communicating. It reduces complexity while preserving meaning, helping you to identify patterns and build conceptual understanding. Codes can describe, it can describe topics, processes, evaluations, psychological states, lived experiences, relationships. Each code captures a different dimension of the qualitative world. The coding journey moves from observation to understanding. It begins with open exploration, grows into organized categorization, and culminates in thematic synthesis that answers your research questions. There are three phases of coding: open coding, breaking text into meaningful segments; eggshell coding, grouping and connecting ideas; selective coding, identifying overarching themes. Open coding is your first systematic engagement with data. You examine each line and ask yourself, what is happening here? What does this represent? You label freely, descriptively, and generously. Here is an example of open coding from a transcript about feeling isolated during graduate school. Possible codes include isolation, lack of understanding, expectation, comparison, social withdrawal, concealing struggles, and imposter feelings. Once you are done with open coding, we move now to eggshell coding. That is the moment you cluster and chunk data. You ask, what conditions cause these? Or what strategies emerge? What consequences follow? Patterns begin to form across participants. Examples of eggshell categories include emotional labor, supply deficit, social comparison. Each category groups together, rel- together relates to codes. Selective coding, on the other hand, or on the last part, is where you find themes. Themes unify your entire analysis and answer your research questions. They represent the deeper story your participants are telling. In here, your code book is essential. It ensures systematization, consistency, and transparency. It documents every code, every rule, and every example. A complete code book may include the following: a code name, a definition, inclusion criteria, exclusion criteria, and example quotations. A sample codebook entry can look like these. It defines the concept, clarifies when the code applies, and provides examples. This ensures consistent application during analysis. Remember, coding is an intellectual craft. It requires sensitivity, reflexivity, theoretical awareness, and creativity. Coding, therefore, is not mechanical, it is interpretive work. Common coding challenges actually include code overlap, inconsistent applications, and code too many codes. These issues require refinement and an disciplined review. When multiple coders work together or are involved, inter-rater reliability becomes essential. Coders must train together, practice coding separately, compare results, and resolve discrepancies. Reliability statistics, excuse me, like Cohen's kappa, help assess consistency. Nowadays, even softwares can be used for coding. NVivo, Atlas.ti, and MaxQDA are also available for use. But remember, software assists the process. It does not replace analytical judgment. Here we see why interpretation is an art. Coding is not just categorizing, it is creating and constructing meaning. So let's look at your lesson 14 tasks. Select a paragraph from any qualitative text. Create 5 to 7 open codes. Then write a mini notebook for 3 of them. Upload your work to Canvas and label session 14 to be submitted with session 13. Now let us look at the last section. Data quality and preliminary checks. Quantitative analysis requires accuracy and verification. Before you run any statistical test, always ask, can I trust these numbers? Because preliminary checks ensure that your data set is sound. Data quality means that your data set has is accurate, complete, consistent, and analyzable. It ensures your analysis rests on a reliable foundation. Common data quality problems include outliers, illogical values, measurement error, missing data, skewed distribution, and non-response bias. Here, the diagnostic is imperative. Your responsibility is to diagnose these issues before analyzing anything. And think of these checks, therefore, as preventive medicine for your research. There are five essential preliminary checks to consider: frequencies and descriptions, measures of distribution, outlier inspection, missing data analysis, and assumption checks. Check 1. Frequency and descriptions. Review response patterns, missing values, impossible entries, and this gives your first glimpse into whether the data sets make sense. Check 2. Distribution measures. You look at the mean, median, standard deviation, and skewedness. These indicators show how your data behaves and whether it meets statistical assumptions. Understanding skewedness is essential. Positive skew has a tail on the right. Negative skew has a tail on the left. Large skew values may require transformations or alternative analysis. Something we need to be careful of. Check 3. Outlier inspection. Outlier can result from errors, unusual respondents, or rare cases. You must investigate each one before deciding what to do with it. So, how do we handle outliers? If it's an error, correct or delete it. If it is legitimate, keep it, but adjust your analytical approach. If it is uncertain, analyze with and without the outlier and compare. Now, check 4. Missing data analysis. Not all missing data is the same. You must determine whether missingness is random or pattern to choose the right handling strategy. There are many types of missing data. MCAR, missing completely at random. MAR, missing at random. MNAR, missing not at random. Each requires a different statistical approach. Check 5. Testing assumptions. Tests requires assumptions like normality, linearity, homoscedasticity, independence. Assumptions ensure valid interpretation. A case study of motivation data set. Issues included impossible study hours, identical responses, straight lining, and entire missing sections. Through systematic checks, these problems were identified and resolved, protecting the integrity of the analysis. Here we see your last task. Remember, statistics are only as valid as the data underneath them. In your third assignment for this tranche, you are to write a 1 to 2 page report assessing the quality of your data set. Discuss missing data, outliers, distributions, and assumption checks. Upload the work to Canvas under Lesson 13, 14, and 15. When you when you study data preparation, coding, and data quality, we actually transform data into analyzable insights by means of systematic preparation, thoughtful coding, and rigorous assessments. Thank you very much for listening.